So a few days ago, somebody told me that if a truck explodes and it has it's loaded with supplies, the explosion will be bigger than if it doesn't have any supplies loaded. So let's test that. So I'm going to place a second truck. One here. And this one I will load with supplies. Okay, first I'm going to detonate this one. Okay, Arma's at 98. So the explosion is visually much bigger, and so it appears there's some... Okay, so if it's fully loaded, you get a bigger explosion. Now the next problem is, how do you get it to explode? Okay, so I got... My character has a sapper loadout, so I take explosive sticks. And I think they changed it from previous versions. So if you place one, you can immediately place the next one, because the character auto-equips the next one. And in my testing, it was quite disappointing, because you need, I think, more than 4 or 5 sticks to create an explosion large enough to almost destroy the truck right away. So it's not really a practical thing to do. Let's put it here in the fuel tank. I'm going to put 4 on it. Okay, now I'm going to take the detonator. Okay, let's see. So with 4 sticks, you get the truck to not completely explode, it will start burning, and after some time it will detonate. I think when the armor reaches 0. Okay, you also may have noticed this this sphere. That's a debug setting that you can use for explosives. Okay, so but the next thing I want to try is what happens if you stack multiple sticks of explosives. For that test, I'm going to take a Humvee. I'm going to place it here. Then I'm getting some explosive sticks. The cool thing is you can actually get quite a lot of them because they're not really heavy. Like, one is a little more than half a kilo. And the weight of the explosive also tells you a lot about how much explosive filler there is. I think it's never completely just explosive. Well, I'm not sure in that demolition block it's probably most of it is the explosive. Okay, now I'm going to put 1 stick here and see what happens. Place it. Let's go to Game Master. Let's examine the debug sphere. So notice there's an inner sphere and an outer sphere. Actually, there's 2. There's one immediate one, and I think they correspond to different, I think, damage intensity. I think the developers at some point talked about it in a developer log. So, for example, in a recent patch, they added something that if you explode really powerful explosives like anti-beetlemans, they will have like an inner radius where they even get through really thick objects like concrete. What's also interesting here is, you see the lines here coming out. And those are not fragments, I think, because the game doesn't. I don't think the game will be able to calculate thousands of fragments exploding in every direction. I think what the game does, it checks the objects that are in the radius of the explosion, and then it draws a trace line to every damageable component of an object that can be damaged and paints that little sphere. And depending on the color, it also shows what type of damage it is, I think. So you can, for example, see it hits the wheel, the glass, front glass, that glass, and that's, I think, the gearbox component. That's some, I think it's a drivetrain or something. Okay, so that's from 1 stick, and the damage of the vehicle is, notice there's actually no damage to the arm of the vehicle. Now let's see if that is correct. Let's get in the driver's seat. If any components are damaged, no visible damage on the components. Now there could be some damage, but like I could use some debug commands to check the exact damage. But if it doesn't show up for the player, because it's for the player, only thing is relevant that he can actually see. Okay, now let's try the thing again. I'm going to take 5 sticks. I only have to arm one of them. Also, to me, it sounded like the explosion sounded bigger too. Okay, let's take a look. Now there's armor damage, 2% armor damage. I think the damage, the outer spheres, I would guess it's the same. Seems like the same, but notice the inner sphere is. Notice that the inner sphere is much bigger. I think there's like a core sphere and 1 or 2 inner spheres, and I think those inner spheres, they extend the more explosives explode together, and that they think it's bigger. So the game actually simulates the more explosive you pack on something, the more explosive power we get. And I also think, notice here there are much more lines coming out of it. Because I think every single detonator, I think it's 5 times the lines, shows that the object that it possibly hit. Okay, now let's try the same thing with a anti-beacon landmine off the American side. Let's repair this one. Now, on the beacon landmines, the Soviet one is about 10 kilos, the American one is 15 kilos. Now from that we can tell that's probably 2/3 of that is the actual explosives, and the outer casing is the rest. And I think the outer casing also plays a part in the explosive, because those are the fragments that get propelled outside. Okay, 14.2 kilos. I have to drop something. Let's place it. Now, the thing is, if you want to detonate it by shooting at it, you actually don't have to arm it. You can just place it or drop it. Okay, now the thing is armed. No, it's an anti-vehicle mine, so it only explodes if a vehicle drives over it. Or if you shoot it. Or if you put a C4 stick on it. And sometimes you need 2 sticks. So I'm going to put 2 sticks on there. Okay, now the amount of safety distance you have to get away from is pretty large on this one. Like it's larger than you think it would be. I think I'm safe from here. No, I'm not. Like I've seen characters getting knocked down from that distance, like literally getting thrown on the backs like that. Okay. Okay, let's get the pause. Okay, now you can see here, that's the outer sphere. I'm not sure what exactly it means. It's like perhaps some type of probabilistic chance of, if you're in that outer sphere, the further out you are, you get a certain chance of a fragment hitting or something. I think that's what the game does. It basically checks every object that can interact with the damage system, and then throws a dice, like how far the character is and what type of damage. As you can see here, the wall takes most of it, but some of it traces through the wall. Could be shockwave or something. And that's like the outer sphere appears to be the maximum trace of how far anything can be detected in terms of damage components. Now, for some reason, the vehicle has armor 100, which is odd. Because I've seen characters getting completely flattened at that distance, but the vehicle for some reason took no damage.